Despite Fort Niagara being a strong military post, far out on the frontiers of the British Empire, soldiers' wives and civilian women were common inhabitants and integral to the daily operations of the garrison. Her day would begin like everyone else's. She'd wake up in her barracks room to the sound of reveille, along with her husband and all his other messmates. The first thing she would be wearing is her shift. This base layer was made from linen, was slept in, and typically changed daily. Next, she would put on her stockings. Stockings could be made from wool or cotton, and can come in a variety of colours. To hold them up, she would tie a thin garter below her knee. Shoes came in many shapes and styles. Shoes with a small heel was among the most popular, but sometimes a simple pair of mules is the best choice for a busy day. Next, she'd put on her stays. Stays were a foundational garment of the 18th century. They were worn to provide support to the bust and back, and were by nearly all European women through all stages of life. Stays did not restrict most movements, and helped the wearer keep excellent posture. After her stays, she would put on her petticoats. Petticoats in the 18th century weren't specifically underskirts. Generally, women at this time would wear 2 or 3 petticoats to create the desired silhouette. These petticoats could be made from a variety of fabrics. In colder months, she may even wear a quilted petticoat for added warmth. Unlike much of today's clothing, women in the 18th century had pockets. These would be a separate piece that would be tied under the outermost petticoat and would store anything she was sure to need throughout her day. There were several types of tops the 18th century woman could choose from. Gowns were fitted tops that utilized pins to secure. By pinning the top to the underlaying stays, the gown will maintain a smooth, well-fitted appearance. Next, she puts on her kerchief. This is worn around her neck to keep the sun off her neck and chest. Kerchiefs could come in a range of colors and fabrics and patterns. An apron made of hardy, easy-to-wash fabric protects her clothes from the day-to-day dirt and grime she might encounter throughout her day. Next, she might do her hair. Working women at this time would brush in pomade and powder into their hair as they styled it. This would allow grease and dirt to be absorbed by the powder, and could be brushed out easily, keeping their hair clean and moisturized. This process would be stripped and reapplied roughly every 2 weeks, with touch-ups as needed. Once properly cleaned, she would put it up. A popular hairstyle during this period was to put it up in a bun with a small bump in the front. To protect her hair from dirt, dust, and hot embers, women would wear caps that covered most of their heads. These caps came in various styles, and were all up to the wearer's preference. Women of all classes loved to accessorize their outfits. Even a simple black ribbon could make a fashionable necklace. And just because she lives with soldiers doesn't mean she's a barbarian. Keeping warm was incredibly important for the women in the 18th century, especially when they're stationed at far-off posts like Niagara. To keep warm, soldiers' wives would wear thick woolen mitts and cloaks. After all that effort just to get dressed, the soldier's wife can take on her day.